Well, episode 2.
It's actually episode 80, so it's a nice round number. But it is episode 2 of season 4.
Gotta get those nice round numbers going.
Yeah, those they happen so rarely.
It's true.
I wonder how people define round numbers. We had that going for since high school, right? We sometimes say, "Oh, it's a nice round number," but I feel like some people probably define round numbers differently. For some people, maybe a round number has two zeros at the end, as opposed to for me, it's like, well, it's got a zero at the end, it's good enough. Or even like, well, what if it's 64? That's a really good number because you just keep dividing it by two, no problem.
Yeah, you keep going. Yeah.
So, what exactly is a round number?
Well, everybody's got a different opinion on it, probably. So,
But what is it for you specifically?
a round number?
Yeah.
Probably just a 0 or 5.
So for you, it's a five is okay too. Interesting. So if
I
if
think a
this
5
was
is a round number.
so really, they're not that uncommon then. 75 was a round number episode. 70, 85 is going to be one.
I would think it would also be acceptable to say, like, maybe divisible by 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we have so divisible by two, divisible by five. They're not nearly as rare as I originally thought.
I don't think they are. I mean, going back to high school, I remember using them all the time. So, yeah, I remember using that phrase all the time. So, I didn't think it was that rare in the first place.
I guess the only non-round numbers would be the prime numbers. We can go with that.
Yeah, primes. That's it. Yeah, they're not that rare. 80's not that special. When we get to 100, though, which we're gonna hit this season.
Isn't it funny though? Isn't it funny how? So what makes 100 so special?
I don't know. Probably the flip to triple digits. It's a nice
That's
big
true.
number.
Okay, so in that case, I get it. That's a good point. Because sometimes I wonder, and I do this too. Humans they'll gravitate towards, I guess, the more common numbers. We had this even for the tiebreaker, right? Instinctively you went 40-60, and I went 60-40, as opposed to going let's say 39-61 or something similar, where it wasn't the immediately obvious choice. And I wonder why humans do that. Because this happens in other cases too, right? Like, oh well, usually you'll just say, oh, it's 1/3. I'm gonna assume that the probability of this is just 1/3.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be very specific about it. You're not gonna say, okay, well, it's actually gonna be exactly 34.156. And they feel better about those numbers, the simpler ones.
Because it's easier to wrap your head around the simplicity of something. That's what it comes down to. Add up, 64 plus 19 plus, plus 29. Most people aren't going to do that, but, estimating that is relatively simple. 60 plus 20 plus, I don't even know what the third number I said was.
It's probably 100. It all adds up to 100.
There you go. It's just easier to round it, and it's easier to use, in the case of something like a third, that's a very common value. So it's easier to just express that, I think. That's what it comes down to. Everything's just about how quickly can you do something in your head. That's what they teach kids in school. What's one of the first things before they even teach, like, proper higher level math, one of the first things they teach is rounding. And, using exactly the example that I just said, if I give you these three numbers, roughly what is it? Everybody's got that intuition. Then you can build from there. It comes down to just how quickly, how easily we can eyeball something.
That's deep.
That's why everybody likes nice round numbers.
But kids don't learn rounding anymore, let's be honest. They don't teach that in school.
They do still teach that in school. As a matter of fact, one of the ways
that.
that they teach, mathematics now, which is something that, I didn't learn that way, is they actually teach you to take out the extras, so essentially rounding, and then add the other stuff on afterwards.
And this was recent. You went into a school recently and you sat in on a lesson.
No, I didn't go into school recently, but I know that's how it's done. The way that they teach math now is really low level math is really messed up right now.
I mean, if it gets the kids to the bigger picture, that's a good thing, I think.
I don't know, man. The way they teach math in schools now is really messed up, and it's just really inefficient. And it's not even like, oh, we're teaching you the building blocks, and then we'll teach you how to do it properly. They're just like, yeah, this is how you're doing it.
But just think about it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? These are the kids who will grow up to build our airplanes in the future.
Yep.
And how could they get worse?
Won't just be Boeing that's falling apart anymore. Won't just be Boeing that's falling apart anymore.
Maybe the reason it's struggling so much is it hired some of those kids as interns.
That could be it.
Well, this is supposed to be exactly 99.53. Just put 100. No one will know.
What the hell's 99.53? I just rounded to 100. I was taught to just go to 100 in that case.
Is this piece supposed to be this long? No, just trim off that last bit.
You want to measure it? No.
Cut twice, measure once, right?
That's right, yeah. School's messed up these days.
Speaking of school, though, I just want to interject and say that our podcast now has a YouTube channel.
Yay.
So I decided that starting with this season, every new episode will appear there as well. Check the description for the link to the YouTube channel.
That's good. That's nice. I think you should have a YouTube channel. Maybe we'll get some listeners off of that.
They're also not just blank videos. Like I put I don't know what they're called exactly, but you know how you get, they're not waveforms, but when you're speaking, the things like move up and down.
Oh, okay.
So I have that in the episodes.
Very nice. Well, that's good. So go listen to it in both places, everybody.
Yeah, we need the listens.
That's right. Artificially inflate our numbers by listening to the podcast twice. You'll catch new things. It's like when you watch a movie or a TV show, you have to watch, you catch things the second or third time around that you didn't catch the first time around.
There's layers to this podcast. It's like an onion, but in the good kind of way. So if you listen to it multiple times, you'll hear maybe something that you thought was perfectly fine will sound racist the second time, or vice versa. That can also happen.
Yeah, that's what we want you to take away from that.
That's what people know us for now.
We want you to catch the racist undertones over everything.
Yeah,
else.
I think so.
Fun fact: every 15 minutes, there's at least one racism quip.
We have a checklist. We have a checklist that we have to make sure we check it off for every 15-minute chunk.
Yeah, I have a little alarm in my headset that goes off if there isn't a racist comment. And then, whenever a racist comment is made, I just push a button and it silences the alarm. For
now, the alarm actually, you can make it so that the alarm knows, like it listens to what you're saying. So if it hears, there's an AI that's listening for racist remarks or undertones, and it recognizes when you've been racist enough. And if that meter is if you've hit that mark, then it stops with the alarm. And in fact, you can make it so the alarm shocks you.
Do you remember? Yeah, you can make it so the alarm shocks you. I've seen people wear like the shock vests before. I feel like I want to get a shock vest.
For what?
For like my streamer. For like my stream or something. And figure out how to like set it up so when it, when I get hit or something or die or something, I get shocked.
They have those haptic feedback vests as well. Not shock, but like you feel the impact.
I think I only work with PC games, though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, probably not even easily then. I think you have to set it up.
Yeah.
That would be neat, though. I thought at first when you said shock vest, I thought like, well, to stay awake or what?
No, I know a streamer I watch does indeed use a shock vest sometimes when they play horror games. And they let the viewers like shock him. So it's like extra scary. I don't think it's like a huge shock vest, I don't think it's gonna. But
it's much easier though if you don't wire it to the game, but rather just the viewers. Then that's fine.
Oh yeah, that's much easier. Yeah.
You could also just make it random as well, right?
Just random shocks. Yeah.
then you're really torturing yourself, by definition.
One shock somewhere in every 15 minutes. We'll use 15 minutes today because that's a nice round number. So.
And then you're gonna start feeling these phantom shocks, even though nothing's happening. Yeah. Throughout the day, you'll be like,
somebody just says a number. Get some PTSD. Somebody just says a number. You just curl up into a ball.
15.
So we have a meeting in 15 minutes. God no! God no! God no!
It's like in The Simpsons where Lisa runs the experiment where it's Bart against the hamster. Or the guinea pig.
Right, yeah.
And then Marge asks Bart to get the cupcakes, and he's like reaching for them, and he just can't grab them because he's so traumatized that he just falls down and starts shivering. That's what I imagine would happen if you actually did this.
Yeah. Have to be like a really strong shock vest, though. I don't think just little minor shocks
I
would
don't
be
know. I
enough to
mean,
elicit that.
again, like water torture is just little drips of water every now and that can ruin your life. So I can imagine if you do this long enough, it would also be frustrating.
Maybe.
It's like minor pains that people have, right? My aches and pains that just come and go, and I can imagine that's probably not good for them mentally, right? Like people have chronic back problems. It does affect your mood and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So just imagine this is like consistent for, you know, for a long period of time.
Well, I'll have to try it. I'll have to get a shock vest and
Where do they sell those anyway?
Amazon. Prime Day's coming up.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I get
Get yourself a
nice,
shock vest on Prime Day.
get a nice cheap discount shock vest. Set your house on fire.
Well, set yourself on fire first, and then as a result of you stop, drop, and rolling, you set your house on fire.
I don't know. I have to investigate where you get those because
I mean, you could also get a shock collar, right? That's the easier thing, potentially.
a shock collar.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not putting anything around my neck like that.
But you're putting a vest around your chest.
That's a vest. No, that's a vest.
I guess there's more flesh to absorb the shock than around the neck. But that also that motivates you to beef up your neck, You become like somebody from Gears of War,
Oh yeah, there you go.
where the neck is basically like it's the trunk of a tree.
That's the way you do it. Beef up your neck so you can't even feel the shock. You just send the shock right back into the collar and
Yeah.
zap the collar.
Who's shocking now?
Exactly. Haptic vests are about $500.
Okay. Is that a good one or is that just like the cheapest one? Because $500, if it's like one of the reputable brands, that's okay. I mean, it's expensive, but have you seen like driving simulator equipment? That can run very high as well.
Oh yeah, that stuff's huge. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
It's very niche, but again, it reasonably priced, I think, for being very niche.
I don't know if this is a good one or not. It's the only one that seems to be on sale or like for sale.
Is there a full body one so that like if you get kicked in the crotch, you actually get kicked in the crotch?
Okay, so I guess B Haptics is like the haptic suit place, and they do indeed have a tacked suit.
That's for everything.
Yeah, it's like the gloves and the vest and
Wow, jeez.
leg pieces.
There should be a game where you just get stung by bees.
There you go. There you go. Just why not? Why not?
But no, but that'd be interesting, right? Like you're a beekeeper simulator, and then you wear this vest, and if you mess up, you really mess up. That'd be awesome, I think. Like simulator games can be expanded upon so much if you use these vests.
Okay, so if you want everything, so you got to buy them all kind of separately.
Okay.
If you want everything, $529 for the vest, $250 for the gloves, $130 for the visor, so 4 feedback points on your face, $250 for the arms, $250 for the feet.
What about the legs?
Apparently, it doesn't look like there's legs. Legs are the only thing that you don't get haptic feedback on. Legs and nether regions.
But that's terrible. Why would you do that? That's the best part.
There probably is a reason not to put it on your legs, though, to be fair.
Not to mention, it's like, then you can actually act out that meme from Skyrim, that you get shot in the knee with an arrow.
Well, that's probably why they don't have legs, because it would probably cause people to start falling down and open them up to lawsuits.
Well, what if you're sitting down? You don't have to stand for this, do you?
Well, it's made, so essentially these are made for VR.
Well, okay, fair enough. Then you do have to stand.
Yeah, I think most people are using VR when they stand. But that's interesting. So that'll run you about a little over $1,000, I think, is what it came out to.
If you just sit down, you can get a couch that has haptic feedback, and then the couch is the one that's punching you. Oh, my kidneys!
Oh, my kidneys! Yeah. One day, this stuff will be more affordable. It's kind of like VR. I feel like VR's kind of come down. From the first iterations, it's relatively.
I think so, but it's also improved significantly, right?
True. Yes.
So I would say that it's like the TVs back in the old days, right? When they switched from CRTs being the most prevalent one to LCD screens, the LCD screens originally were like horrendously expensive, and then they improved while coming down in price. So yeah, it could happen. Again, as long as it's not too niche, though, that's the problem.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, and that's probably where it'll get stuck. Is I don't think haptic feedback suits are gonna turn into a main market appeal. I suppose, even if VR catches on, in a reasonable way, in a more reasonable way.
Yeah, because VR itself, there's a good chance that's going to pick up, and it's not just going to be niche in the future.
Well, if they can make, at least in the gaming sphere, if they can make games that are actually like good, I'm sure it will pick up. If they can make more than one game a year, that's actually good. I'm sure it'll pick up. I mean, a lot of VR stuff looks a lot of fun, but it looks more like little mini games, something you play for like 20 minutes and then never touch again. you know, they did, and every once in a while you get somebody like Capcom who will make one of the Resident Evils VR compatible, so you get the big experience.
But then you have to be a fan of that type of game as well, because not everybody's into horror games.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Or you get Valve who made Alex, right? But they're so few and far in between that it's not there yet. But at the same time, it's hard to see too big of an attach rate either, because why would a AAA developer, somebody who has the capability of making something that's actually good, why would they limit themselves to the super small player base of VR? Even if it does grow, is it growing fast enough for big developers to work on?
Do you think the VR install base is now as big as the Wii U install base was?
I don't think it is. I'd be surprised if it was.
Wii
I
U
don't
was
think
pretty
so.
small.
I know it was pretty small, but
It was dwindling.
the other thing you have to consider though is that, let's say there's three major VR headsets. There's MetaQuest. There's doesn't Valve have one or something like that?
Yeah, the Valve.
Oculus.
What's the name for it? The Vive, right?
Oh, the Vive. Yeah, the Vive, and the PlayStation VR. None of them are compatible with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the other kind of issue, is that they're all like their own storefronts, their own games.
They're all their own Wii U.
Yeah, pretty much. They're all their own Wii U. So then that's the other issue you run into. Now the nice thing is, at least the PlayStation one, I don't know about the other ones, but I know the PlayStation one this fall or winter or something, they're supposed to be releasing a adapter so you can use the PSVR with at least one of the other storefronts on PC. So that'll be nice. That'll expand it, especially since they pretty much dropped support for it already after a year and a half.
Oh, it came out and they already dropped support for it?
Yeah, I don't even think they're making them anymore already.
Oh.
Because they have such a abundance left over, they've stopped production. And they probably just won't. Usually when that happens, they just don't start back up. But that's PlayStation MO. Same with their handhelds. They release their handhelds. They're somehow surprised when they don't reach millions of sales in the first 6 months. And then they drop all support for it.
They're like, it worked for Nintendo. Why doesn't it work for us?
No patience. So yeah, I don't know. I've always looked at VR as being niche, and I don't necessarily see that changing. Like, you're right. It's become more prevalent, but I don't think it's ever going to reach mainstream.
But I still feel like it'll be more adopted than it was before, which is, it's still saying something. What I mean is, I don't think it's going to go the way of 3D TV.
Oh.
Right? Where 3D TV just like disappeared off the face of the earth. I think VR is here to stay. It's going to be in the same vein as driving simulators, all that type of stuff. But maybe, I would say it's probably going to be more so than those, because those really are specific to each of their game genres, whereas, VR has potential in other genres as well. It might be limited again in the sense that, there's not that many games being made, but that's a chicken and egg problem as well. Like, suppose everybody's like, "Oh, I love VR. I'm going to buy the hardware right now." And then the install base suddenly becomes slightly more than Wii U, and then developers are more keen on developing for it. But
well, it's true.
Unfortunately, it's like, yeah, it doesn't work right now because its install base is just at the Wii U levels. For what it's worth, by the way, if anybody's listening, I do like the Wii U. I'm just giving it a hard time for some reason.
There was nothing special. Like, it's hard to say. Oh, I do like the Wii U. There wasn't really anything special about the Wii U.
Yeah, but I don't know. For me, it was fine. I liked the games for it, and I didn't have any problems with the experience.
I don't think anybody had any problems with the experience. I think it was just branded wrong.
Yeah, they should have called it something else. I think Wii U was a bad choice because then it sounded like it was related to the Wii,
Yeah.
which maybe I get why they did that. They were trying to ride the coattails, but it also is detrimental because then it wasn't able to become its own thing.
Yeah, you either have to put a number after it, or you have to completely change the name.
Ah, I see. They should have called it the Wii Wii.
Well, I don't know if the Wii Wii would have worked either.
I don't know. I mean, it's twice the Wii.
Maybe, and if they just kept iterating on that.
The Wii Wii Wii.
Now, yeah, the Switch would have been called the Wii Wii Wii, and next year's new Nintendo console, the Wii 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 Wii.
Just sounds more and more French the further we go along.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. By 2070, they'll be announcing their new one, the Wii 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 Wii.
The whole Nintendo
know,
Direct will be them just saying it for the entire
just
string.
saying the name. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, going back to when you said the AI, just get the AI that listens for racist undertones. Do you remember when so I don't know when this was, 10, 15 years ago now. Who was it? I think it was Microsoft. They decided that they would make an AI Twitter account.
Ah, yes.
And remember that? Make the AI Twitter account to interact with, people on the internet. I don't even know what their end goal was, really, to be fair.
Some kooky fun. Family-friendly, lighthearted fun.
Yeah. And then it just started, once people caught on, they started training the AI to just be insanely racist.
So it fits right in on Twitter.
Yeah, pretty much it does. So it didn't take very long for the AI to just kind of learn to be insanely racist, and that's all its outputs were. And they had to shut it down. It only lasted like a couple of weeks or something like that, if that. That's kind of AIs we need. We need the AIs that'll stand up to sensibility. Or the AI, it's not the racism one, but the Doom AI.
Where it was trained trained to become better and better at playing the game.
Better and better, yeah. And then when a player came in, it focused on the players, all of them, whether they were allies or enemies.
Because I think the AIs themselves, they stopped fighting each other.
Oh, that's right, because they figured that was the best way to
survive,
achieve
a goal.
Survive, yeah.
But then when players came in, they were like, "Oh, these are humans. They must die."
Yeah, well, they're going to interrupt that, stalemate, yeah.
Or maybe they would, I don't know, I didn't read the article, but maybe what happened was humans come in. If the humans did nothing, maybe the AI would have spared them. But because the humans started playing around, it's Doom. Let's start shooting the other players. They shot one of the AIs, and suddenly they just turn on them.
That's it. Yep. But it's kind of amazing how AI, even early on, was able to adapt to things. I watched a YouTube video once, not that long ago, maybe within the last year, and it was incredibly fascinating. It was this pretty much a track and field race between these different legged AIs.
Are they made by Boston Dynamics?
No, it was literally just a computer simulation.
Oh,
much.
Okay.
It wasn't a real thing.
Because Boston Dynamics actually makes these robots, right? That are able to run around and basically behave like animals.
Oh yeah, no, Boston Dynamics is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, their stuff is like horror fuel.
I mean, they're making the things from Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, that's it exactly. Yeah, that's kind of it exactly. But anyway, so no, it's a computer thing, but each one has its own AI. So there's one with like 4 legs. There's one with like 3 legs. There's one that just hops. They had them try to run, a certain distance in the program, and using realish physics, right? So. And they didn't know, so the premise was the AI didn't know how to use their bodies. And every time they failed, so they went off track or they crashed or they fell over or whatever, I guess it simulated pain.
Well, it gave them some sort of like losing end state.
Yeah. And every time they, got better at it, it encouraged them, however it was. And so what I watched was, I don't even think I watched the whole thing, but I watched like the first, I don't know, let's say 200 runs, 500 runs, whatever it was, of them just being really bad at the start and falling over almost immediately, and then slowly learning how to use their bodies and get to the thing. And it was really fascinating to watch them get better.
Did they learn how to use their bodies the way you expect, or did they cleverly do it?
Actually, no. Some of them were, which there was one that was actually completely unexpected. I wish I could remember which one it was, but I do remember there was one that was like, "Oh, this isn't how a real thing would actually use their body," but it worked for the AI. So that's kind of what it just started to learn. And I can't remember which one it was. Was it the? It might have actually been just the four-leg one. So like with a four-legged animal, they kind of so a four-legged animal usually moves like top left, back right. You know what I mean? Like they kind of move in a different way than you would expect a normal four-legged animal.
Well, or like they're just like dashing, so they're probably like lifting off the ground when they move.
Yeah, yeah. I think it learned to like pull back and just use two legs and then just kind of fall forward. So almost like what you said, a dashing, where it was like push off, but it was mostly with the two legs. It was something like that. It was something just it was just something really unique. I wish I remember more of it, but I'm gonna see if I can find the video for.
Yeah, you have to find the video because otherwise our listeners will be like, "Man, what the hell? You're saying all this fun stuff and now we can't see it."
I know I do. I see a lot of fun stuff, and then I never.
Oh, you got to add it to the list.
It's fun to watch the AI learn like that and to learn like decently quickly. Like I said, it was only. I mean, I said 200, 500 runs. Probably it might not even been that much. But then I also think like if you're like okay, here's the thing: if you're simulating pain or whatever in an AI, aren't you still giving something that can be cognizant of pain? Pain? Aren't there like why do we draw the? And I've heard this a few times where it's like, oh, we've simulated pain in the AI to make it learn. I don't understand that because I feel like if you're simulating pain, you're actually creating pain, right?
Well,
And if the AI can feel and adapt to that, then it has some level of cognition. And then isn't that like cruel?
I think the way that I don't know, they probably said pain for the sake of getting people to, watch the video. But mathematically, the way you do it is that you either have a win state or a loss state. And the loss state is just like, because there's a function that the AI is supposed to use. It's a reward function. And that's what it lives and breathes by. It's this reward function. It wants the reward to be positive. So if the AI does something wrong, it just decrements the reward function result. And so then the AI knows, okay, no, I can't have that. I need to redo whatever I did so that I get a positive instead. And that's how it does it. It's not, I mean, maybe they said pain for the sake of getting people to click on the video. But normally, no, nobody really says pain.
Well, I mean, I've heard it like it's not like that's the only place I've ever heard it when it results to AI. Like that's how I hear it described, and maybe it is just to speak about it colloquially. But
it's the same as grading a child's homework. If a child gets something wrong, you want to encourage them to fix their mistakes by actually pointing out the mistakes, and that's basically what the AI is. It's not. It's not supposed to be pain. It's just supposed to be a grade, whether it's a bad grade or a good grade. So the philosophy, the morality there should be fine, unless unless somebody's actually doing some sort of pain simulation, in which case maybe they are doing something that's, let's say, immoral. But I don't think that's the case in this scenario.
Fair enough. Yeah, I always think of that, and like I said, this isn't the only place I've heard it. I hear it a lot with it when people are training AI. Like, oh, we simulate pain to make it learn. And I'm just like, hold on, that doesn't seem right. I don't know why that's any more commonly accepted than something else, than doing it to animals or something.
Well, I mean, they do. I mean, I think they do use animals and they do simulate pain in them, right? That also happens in the scientific world.
Yeah, but that's considered extremely unethical.
It is, but I think
now it's considered extremely unethical.
I don't know if that's still the case for all types of animals. I do think that they still probably run tests on animals that are designated for this sort of research.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of people who will agree that that's like if you're running on mice or snails or whatever. Like I think people would still agree that if you're causing harm to something that's living, it's unethical.
But again, there's going to be other people who don't think so, and it's going to be the same thing with AI. Eventually, if if it gets to a point where there actually is some sort of attempt to simulate pain, then there will be some people who say, no, it's fine. And then there are others who disagree. And then we'll have laws against all these things written up.
Well, maybe we'll have laws written up. Okay, I actually found it. I don't know if this is the exact video I watched. It might be edited differently, or it might be a different iteration of this. But it's fascinating. I think it's worth a watch, at least part of it. And actually, it took longer than I thought. Like I said, it might not have been 200, but I don't think anybody crossed the finish line till after 1,600 iterations. Almost 2,000. Oh, it was the two-legger. The way the two-legger moves was kind of wild. Very Quap-like.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, I'm not going to watch it now, but I assumed it would be something Quap-like because, in Quap you can do the two things, right? You can either do, let's try to learn how to run properly in Quap, which is a miserable experience, but it's possible. And then there's the other one, which is shuffling. You have your two legs, but you just shuffle. And shuffling, it may not be, I guess, the fastest way. Again, assuming you can learn the ins and outs of actually moving a bipedal model. But it is the consistent way. It's the way that you don't end up falling on your face every time. And that's probably what it ended up doing. I'm surprised, any of them would have done more than shuffle, because it seems like shuffling is the easiest thing to learn. I'm wondering, let's say, because, a child learns to walk, right? A tiny baby there is like a toddler trying to walk. The toddler will start lifting their legs, lifting their feet. Why don't they just shuffle? Why don't they learn to shuffle before they learn to do the complicated thing?
Okay, so that's the thing what's fascinating about AI. AI has a way of doing it. Or like you said, Quap or any, simulated environment has a way of doing it that doesn't mimic real life. So that in itself is quite fascinating because, like you said, we don't learn to shuffle first. We just learn to walk,
But then I'm finding it more strange that why don't we do that? Why don't we learn to shuffle instead?
But again, that's what's so fascinating is we don't have to, Why don't we have to? I'm sure somebody's looked into that.
Maybe there's just some guy who ran an experiment on their toddler. And the toddler is trying to lift their legs, the guy slaps the toddler to say, no, that's not how you're supposed to do it. And then eventually the toddler learns to shuffle. And then this person, as they grow up, they're just shuffling everywhere. Huh?
I'm sure you could train somebody to shuffle. If you do it from birth, you could train them for that to be the way they learn to walk.
Yeah, speaking of ethical.
Oh no, that'd be horrible. It would absolutely be an atrocious thing to do. But I'm sure you could do it, It's like speech stuff, right? Every once in a while we find a feral kid who's been chained to their basement and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm sure scientists salivate at that. As horrible as it is, because it's just fascinating how humans, learn things and when, by what age and when they're the most susceptible and all that kind of stuff. When they learn language, when they learn, social skills, etc. But obviously you can't test that in a lab because it's just horribly unethical. So when one just pops up naturally from, sociopathic parents, I'm sure, not that any scientists would admit it, but I'm sure they're all behavioral scientists. I'm sure they're all, or cognitive development scientists, whatever. I'm sure they're all salivating at the mouth to study these types of people. You gotta wait for some bad parent to teach their kid to shuffle, and then we arrest them, and then we take the kid when they're an adult, and we study them for the rest of their lives, because that's not unethical at that point. At that point, they can't function in society anyways. But
well, I mean, the only difference would be they shuffle instead of walking normally.
Well, fair enough.
I think you're not giving them enough credit. A feral child, it's a bit difficult because
no, you're right. Yeah. You're right. I'm just exaggerating for the sake of
no, but I think that it would be interesting, right? If you ever run into somebody who's shuffling on the street, walking down the street, you gotta think about it. Where did they come from, and where are they going?
Where are they going? How are they getting there?
Shuffling.
If you only learn to shuffle, can you get upstairs?
See, there's the rub. Yeah.
I've only seen these things shuffle, on a flat surface.
It's two-dimensional, yeah. They live in a 2D world, the shufflers. That's scary. They wouldn't be able to live in like let's say they get a house, it would have to be what are they called, bungalows, right?
Hmm.
Ones that just have one story. God forbid they have a basement. They shuffle down there and they never
Oh
get
no,
out.
the lights are out. Getting down would be no problem. You
That's
just,
why I said it's scary. They shuffle down the basement and they're never going to be seen again.
yeah,
Just
that's right.
shuffling. You hear the shuffling from outside.
Exactly.
What's going on in this house? It's the shuffle man.
The shuffle man. That's right. There'd be myths around him, and everybody'd be like, "Oh, did you see the shuffle man? No, that doesn't exist. That's not real. If you hear the shuffling, it means you're already dead."
See, these indie devs, they make like these Slender Man games. Make the Shuffle Man game, man. It's so easy to program. They don't even have to have a walk cycle. They just shuffle.
They just shuffle. Be AI based. Maybe throughout the game, you're stuck in a room with the AI who's learning how to walk,
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
and it gets progressively more difficult as the AI learns.
Yeah, because it's like, well, what can you do once the AI gets to a point where it's better than you?
Yeah, exactly. How long would that take? I wonder if a game like that would be feasible.
How long did the training take on that video? Did they say? Did they talk about it?
They might have. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I said, it was like 1,700 attempts. So
You can also make it so that, you do the training and then you kind of just fake the fact that it's training. That'd be the cheap way to do it. Then it's just like a regular video game where the AI is programmatic as opposed to actually being trained on the fly. I think you said Alien Isolation did that, right? Where the alien learns what you're going to be doing and what your next move might be.
it doesn't really learn. Essentially, the way it's a double layer AI. So one AI knows where you are at all times. The other AI protects you. So like throws off the first AI.
Oh, okay. So they duke it out.
Yeah. So they duke it out, and then eventually, like if you just hunker down, eventually it'll find you, right? But and it always knows your general vicinity. That's how it's always like. No matter where you are in the game, it's always around you, right?
Okay, then I'm thinking of something.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really learn.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking more of, and again, I know it doesn't learn, but what I mean is it looks like it feels that way to the player. But what I was thinking more of is the Mr. Freeze fight in Arkham City, where it's like you use one attack the first time, but you can't use it the second time.
Oh, and then it's resistant to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So something like that,
Yeah, there are games like that.
where it's again not an AI that's actually learning on the fly. Mr. Freeze isn't just suddenly learning and has sentience, but just is programmed that way to make it seem that way.
Probably one that's kind of similar to that is Phoenix Point. Phoenix Point is an XCOM like. The underlying principle was, and I don't think it was executed fairly well, but it was the principle of it that the aliens kind of learn how you play, and then they can like, so it's between missions, not really persistent, right? But they learn how you play, and then they develop resistances over the game to kind of force you out of that. So like if you hunker down and just shoot them, pot shot them from far away, they'll be more aggressive. They'll move in close. If you use grenades a lot, they have extra shielding against that. So it's kind of like that. There's one that's in real time, but I can't remember what it is.
But that one wasn't, right? Phoenix Point was, again, the same way that Mr. Freeze is done programmatically.
Yeah, but I thought there was an action game that was like, okay, now this is how. If you block a lot, then they'll use shield breaks, things like that. I'd have to find it though. I don't really remember.
I think Ninja Gaiden does that, actually. The Ninja Gaiden games, the AI is very smart. So, like, it'll play against you.
Yeah, I would believe that. Games like that are interesting. I find games like that to be interesting, but I don't think they would do that well because I think players want to play the game the way they want to play it. And so if you end up with an AI that's just going to get kind of quite skilled at countering that style.
Then you're playing it the way the AI wants to play it.
That's right. Yeah. You're moving so far out of your comfort zone. The thing with gamers they're so fickle, right? Most of them won't put up with that. Like, oh, I can't use my swords. I can't use my swords anymore. Oh, screw this. Put it down.
I don't know. For me, even like, scaling up the difficulty based on your level, I feel like that's also similar where it's like the game is doing stuff that I don't want it to do. Or sometimes where it's the difficulties dynamic, like, oh, I'm getting killed a lot, so the game is feeling sorry for me. It's going to make it easier. I hate that. It's like, well, no, just let me suffer.
No, well, yeah, I think that's the thing, though, and I think, but you're right. I think it's the same spectrum of exactly what you just said. The next natural level, really. But I think most people look at it the other way. Like, if I'm doing well, the game makes it harder, and then I start sucking. I think a lot of people don't like that. Certainly, there are people who are like, if you're sucking, then they make the game easier. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't like that, but I think it works the other way. Like, if somebody's just playing the game, especially if you're more casual, you don't want a sudden difficulty jump because you're doing okay. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't want all that difficulty. They want to just get through it casually. You know what I mean? Not everybody is a masochist who has to play on the hardest, unfair difficulty every time,
Not everyone's like you.
Yeah. Not everybody's like me. And I hate myself, so that's probably a good that's probably a good thing.
But you only do that on stream, right? You only play the hardest difficulty on stream.
Yeah, I'm playing. Yeah, there's some games I'm playing right now that I just have it set on normal and just walk through it.
It's all a big show. It's all a facade.
It is. It is a facade. It's true. That's show business, baby. It's all a facade. Everybody in Hollywood, on Twitch, this podcast, it's all fake.
Tom Holland has no hair.
Tom Holland has no hair. That's right.
It's digitally added in.
And he puts like things in his mouth. I can't remember what they're
It's
called.
a frog.
He puts things in his mouth to give him that fucking square jaw.
It's a frog. No, he has a frog in his mouth. That was what we established. Remember?
No, I don't. I don't remember that.
That was the urban legend against him, that he has a frog in his mouth.
Okay.
You told me this. This was.
I told you that he has a frog in his mouth?
Yeah. Look it up.
Why?
Because he has that face.
I say he kind of looks like a frog.
No, he doesn't.
He has kind of a frog mouth, whatever that means. He just has like this most pierced lip look. It always looks like he's making a face.
Yeah. But I remember you told me it was because it looked.
I don't
he has a
remember
frog in his
frog.
mouth.
80 episodes on. I guess people forget what they.
Yeah, you gotta remember the most important bits like that. For what it's worth, I think it was one of the first episodes where we talked about that.
Hold on, the frog in Tom Holland's mouth. Oh no, but that's Tom Holland in a frog's mouth.
It's Inception. It's just one inside the other.
Okay, here it is. I don't remember ever saying this, but here it is. This meme says, okay, Tom Holland is cute and all, but he constantly looks like he's hiding a frog in his mouth and it's uncomfortably hopping around in there, but he can't open his mouth or the frog's gonna escape.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever saying that, but you know what? I see it. I
think he even talked about it in an interview.
He probably does. He's to be fair to Tom Holland, he's very self-aware. Oh, he confirms a fan theory about frog in his mouth.
And then he opens his mouth and a frog comes out. That's how the interview goes.
This is hilarious. I can confirm the rumors are true. He wrote that on his Instagram. All right. Tom Holland has a frog in his mouth. There we go.
I wonder what kind of frog it is, though.
He confirmed it.
There's so many varieties. Maybe it's one of those that if you lick it, you go on a trip.
British frog.
No, you go on a trip. So it's like that's why he's always wide-eyed and just present.
No, just common British frog. He doesn't like to go places. He likes his privacy. He just found one in his garden one day, put it in his mouth, and his Hollywood career just kicked off.
Oh, it's like Ratatouille then. It's not him that's controlling himself. At this point, it's the frog that's the one that's in control. And so he's famous as a result of the frog.
That's it. We cracked the code. We're on to you, Tom Holland.
They got to make a movie out of this.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. I would watch that, absolutely.
I don't need to see Tom Holland on my screen anymore.
No, but it wouldn't be played by Tom Holland. He would be played by somebody else. Or it would be animated. It would be like the Ratatouille movie, exactly.
I don't want to see animated Tom Holland either.
Well, okay.
Somebody else can make that. That movie can be a Bollywood movie that I'll never see. He's already doing Uncharted 2. That's enough Tom Holland for the decade for me. As far as I'm concerned, that pretty much wraps up the 2020s for Tom Holland's career. I'm okay with that.
What if he sneaks in Uncharted 3 at the end of the decade?
No.
It'll be such a big hit.
No, I still don't understand how they're making Uncharted 2.
Why wouldn't they? It's such a good movie.
Because Uncharted 1 did not do that well.
I don't know, but it's a good movie, and it did really well.
It didn't do really well. What are you talking about?
I think it exceeded its budget by like $2.
Uncharted movie. Cost 120 to make, made 407. So it did well. It did okay.
Mm.
That's still not that high. Don't they usually look for, I mean, I think three
They're not
times
video
over
game
is what they're.
publishers. It's video game publishers that look for like 10x their investment.
No, but I think movies, I think it has to be at least, which it still is, but just barely. It has to be like at least three times higher or something to be considered successful.
I guess it depends on the studio, but I feel like it's always counted as a success if it's the revenue exceeds the cost, the budget.
I think there's a certain amount it needs to be over to actually be considered successful. But whatever. Still did 407 million. Second one's not going to do anywhere near that.
It's going to do way more. It's going to be like $1 billion.
Ugh.
Can you imagine if Uncharted 2 becomes the biggest box office hit of the decade? What would you do?
If Uncharted 2, and you quote me on this, and you can remind me when it comes out, if Uncharted 2 becomes the biggest box office hit of the decade, I'll eat a shoe. Live on podcast, I'll eat a shoe.
Okay.
That is the promise I will make.
What kind of shoe?
That's
the other question now.
I will eat whatever kind of shoe you want me to. It doesn't even matter. I'll eat whatever you put me on record as saying that. I'm so confident that that's just not going to be even remotely a thing. I'll eat two shoes.
You're going to eat two shoes?
I'll eat the pair.
Wow.
I'll eat the pair of shoes, and you can decide what kind of shoe it is.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it first here. When is Uncharted 2 coming out?
I have no idea. They just announced it, so probably not for another 3 years.
This
podcast probably won't exist.
Oh, it might be right on the cusp there. Remember, we were halfway, so right at the... You know what? That could be the last episode. You'd be dead by shoe.
There you go. Death by shoe. Yeah. That's my... Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm 50-50 on it.
No, there's no 50-50. It's like a 0.5% chance of happening. 0.005% chance of happening.
See,
in fact.
Is that a round number? A nice round number?
Oh yeah, because it's decimal. No, it's a decimal. Decimals aren't nice round numbers. They can contain nice round digits, but they're not nice round numbers. Okay, let's see. Let's see what it has to beat so far. Highest grossing movie of 2020s. Oh, that's right. Avatar: Way of the Water came out this year. Oh yeah, no, you're f***ed.
I don't know.
$2.3 billion.
Yeah, it can make it.
Yeah, all right. I'm feeling pretty confident here. Oh, well, see, now this is a Tom Holland movie, so I'm a little bit angry about this. Spider-Man No Way Home is number 2 with $1.9 billion.
Uh-huh. Yeah?
Yeah.
So there's a really good chance.
Dude, that's wild to me. I remember when movies just started breaking $1 billion. I think Avatar was the first. Avatar or maybe Titanic. No, I think Avatar, because Titanic was still once you can count it for inflation, it would have been. But I think Avatar was the first movie that broke $1 billion at the box office, and that was crazy. And now we're up to $2.3 billion in revenue. That's wild.
So what you're saying is Uncharted 2 might even break $3 billion.
I'm saying some movie might break $3 billion before the 2020s are out, but I don't think it's going to be Uncharted 2. Maybe Wolverine and Deadpool.
I mean, with that Miss Marvel cameo, they have to.
Ugh. Don't remind me of Miss Marvel, not the cameo. I don't think there's a cameo. I hope not.
It's gonna be such a big surprise, such a twist.
I want her to just show up, be like, "Hey guys," and I want Wolverine to stab her. That's it.
But you know what? Even if that's the case, it's still just gonna be hilarious that somehow she got in. Somehow she's in the movie.
That would be wild, and I'd hate it. I'd be surprised if Uncharted 2 even breaks the highest grossing movie from 2020, which was Demon Slayer. I don't know how this is the thing, but Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train.
Yeah, that's an anime.
That was the highest grossing movie in 2020. $507 million.
That's very impressive.
That is very
That's
impressive,
really
actually.
impressive for an anime movie. That is incredibly impressive.
Yeah. And that's not even a common one, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe it is, but maybe it's more. Maybe
it's big
common-ish,
among
but...
the Souls fans.
Okay, all right.
But well, I mean, it's
still
not pretty
like a Dragon
niche.
Ball or
exactly,
One Piece
yeah.
or anything
it's still
yeah.
more niche.
Yeah.
But does that mean what? Nothing came out during the 2020 then? If that's the case,
not.
Although I guess that was during COVID, right? So that might explain why.
Oh, maybe. Oh yeah, there's kind of not a lot going on in 2020. Demon Slayer, The 800, never even heard of that movie. It's another foreign film. That's Chinese historical drama. Number three was My People, My Homeland, which is another Chinese film. Bad Boys for Life, couldn't do it. Bad Boys for Life, couldn't do it. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence couldn't do it.
That came out in 2020?
That came out in 2020, yeah. Tenet also came out in 2020, which I thought was, I think it was a big movie, but I guess not. Sonic the Hedgehog came out in 2020.
The first one, right?
The first one. Only made 319 million.
Aw, poor Sonic. Did you watch the second one yet?
I have not watched the second one yet.
Oh, you gotta.
It's not on anything. That's the issue. I have to wait for it to come to Prime, I guess. It will eventually. I think the first one was the same way. I think it started on Paramount or something, or HBO or something like that, and then eventually made it to Prime. Doolittle with Robert Downey Jr. I feel like Eddie Murphy... Was it Eddie Murphy? Was Eddie Murphy Dr. Doolittle originally? Like,
well,
in the 90s?
Because that was also, that was also, I think Jerry Lewis was the original one, wasn't he?
Oh, okay. Was he?
And then Eddie Murphy was the one that remade it.
You can't beat Eddie Murphy.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen the original, but I hear Jerry Lewis is pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's who Professor Frink is based on.
So 1967 was the original Dr. Doolittle. And that was Rex Harrison.
Oh, so it wasn't Jerry Lewis.
Oh, and then 1998 was Eddie Murphy. The novel came out in 1920. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about Jerry Lewis one.
No. I'm probably wrong. It probably is Rex Harrington or whatever the guy's name is. I just assume every remade movie originally starred Jerry Lewis. You're probably going to be correct for most movies.
There you go. There you go. They made 4 Dr. Doolittles in the Eddie Murphy universe. And so 2 still had Eddie Murphy. And then 3 was 3 and 4 was his daughter, all the way up to 2008. And those were direct-to-video sequels. And they look horrible.
Did he play his daughter?
No.
I mean, he's very good at playing other roles. He could very well do it.
Yeah, I get that. And then there's a Dr. Doolittle called $1 Million Mutts. Oh, it was a 5th one. Okay.
Why are people watching these movies?
I don't know, man.
That's like having 5 Flubber movies. Why?
How many Flubber movies?
There were 2 Flubber movies.
Have more than... Were there actually 2 Flubber movies?
I think.
Oh, yeah, Son of Flubber. Yeah.
Oh my God. What is with them? And like, there was Mask and then Son of Mask?
No. Okay, so originally... So Flubber was actually based on a 1961 film, also made by Disney.
Starring Jerry Lewis?
Called The Absent-Minded Professor, starring not Jerry Lewis, Fred McMurray.
I keep getting it wrong.
And then I know you do. What are you thinking of? There's Jerry Lewis in it.
Everything. He's in everything.
Yeah, just everything is Jerry Lewis. And then The Absent-Minded Professor had a sequel called Son of Flubber.
So there was only actual 190s Flubber movie.
Yeah, I don't see anything that suggests.
Okay, well that's good. Good for them then. They knew when to stop.
Flubber was a good movie, man. I forgot about that movie.
Yeah.
Anything with Robin Williams was a good movie. That's all there is to it. Almost anything. Mrs. Doubtfire. I still love Mrs. Doubtfire. I use her little line, "Help is on the way, dear," every once in a while.
Just in random conversation with strangers. Somebody's asking for help lying on the street. You just yell this out.
Help is on the way, dear.
And then you walk away.
That's right. Yeah. I feel like a good television movie, whatever, a good film is when I work a phrase, a line into my normal lexicon. Simpsons. I like to say Up and Atom a lot. I also like to say Boo Earns. So, those ones.
Well, yeah, Simpsons has many more than just that. There's a lot of quotability in The Simpsons.
It's not just about quotability. It's about being willing to use them in normal speech.
Yeah, well, okay. Sorry. So I guess let's expand on quotability a little bit. But that would be an interesting statistic to gauge movies and other media by, right? Like, how much of this movie would you be willing to recite in public without actually referencing the movie? Just, in day-to-day conversation. Like leaving somebody lying on the street while yelling, "Help is on the way." That would be interesting, though. I wouldn't mind, yeah. That'd be cool if somebody did that. I'm not even a movie buff, but I would be, interested in seeing something like that come out of.
You say you're not a movie buff, but you watch like way more than like I do.
Yeah, but you watch like nothing. You watch no movies, basically.
Yeah, I watch like nothing.
I'm not a movie buff because I don't know movies. Like, because there's people out there who will know when a movie came out, the history of the movie, and I
Yeah,
know
you just
nothing.
think Jerry Lewis. You clearly just think Jerry Lewis is in everything. So
I play the game of probability, the large numbers here, where it's like, let's just assume it's Jerry Lewis, and we'll probably be right more than half the time.
yeah, that's fair.
But no, for me, it's like, and I haven't seen, the classics. I haven't seen Citizen Kane. All I know is it's about a cane, and that's it. But I'm sure that there's a lot more to it. Or even just like some of the classics from the 90s. I still haven't seen some of them. And, gradually I'll catch up. But I think a movie buff, by definition, is somebody who has seen the best of the best in each decade, at least. That's like the minimum.
Yeah, that's fair.
So for me, it's not like that.
Well, on that note, tell us your word.
My word today is genteel. GENTEEL. So this is an adjective. I encountered it while playing Dark Souls 3.
Okay.
And it means a whole lot of crap. One of the definitions is it's elegant or graceful in manner, appearance, or shape. Fair enough. Another one is free from vulgarity or rudeness. Okay. And then maintaining or striving to maintain the appearance of superior or middle class social status or respectability. So it's kind of all over the place. Like, here's a couple examples. So this one's mine. That genteel young lady will fit right in at the country club. I mean, I assume that fits.
That's how I know.
Yeah.
That's how I know the word.
But then in Dark Souls, for whatever reason, this guy, right, one of the NPCs, he says, "You like poking around in cells, do you? How very genteel."
That's because it's Dark Souls, and they do genuinely think that it's...
Yeah, but this guy wasn't crazy. He seemed on the level compared to everybody else. So I don't know. The word is, I get it, and I probably heard it before. Actually, I found it strange because when I first heard it in the game, I was like, does he mean Gentile? Because that's the only other word that I heard that's similar to this. And that's the one that came to mind. But yeah, I just figured, you know what? Yeah, this one is new for me, so I'm going to put it down.
Very good. Very good. Well, there we go. Genteel. Thank you, Dark Souls 3. See, that's how you're the same with movies as you are with video games. You play games and watch movies decades after they come out.
Yep. It's usually at least it's a decade or even 2 decades. Because I checked, right? Captain Phillips, I watched it recently. It came out at least 10 years ago.
Speaking of video games, it's time for our new Tournament of Things. Do 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 do. All right, share some links or whatever you have.
It's just tot3.welcome.fm.
All right.
Just take your original, the previous tournament link and increment it by 1.
Ah, very good. So, we talked about it last week. This Tournament of Things will be much quicker, much smaller than the previous ones. Raji has taken all of the mystical Pokemon, all the special Pokemon.
Yeah, let's call them special because that's like the easiest way to encompass all of them.
Yeah, all the special Pokemon. So the rares, the legendaries, the mysticals, the mythicals, all that stuff. The ones that have special catch conditions, the ones that only show up uniquely in the video games. Some people say, well, Arcanine and Dragonite. No, not those kind. Those are commonly catchable.
They're pedestrian.
We're literally talking, the equivalent of Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres, Mewtwo, Mew, Celebi, Ho-Oh, Lugia, etc. through the series. No Paradox Pokemon and no Scarlet. No Paradox Pokemon and no... The hell were they called from Sun and Moon?
Beast. Ultra Beast.
Oh yeah, no Ultra Beasts. That's right. Yeah. So because those are not special Pokemon. All right. They're abominations of nature that were thrown into the game because I don't know, somebody at Game Freak had a fucking seizure and they went with it. How many went up with 90 something?
We have 94 matches to get through. We'll do 4 matches per episode.
So there's 94-ish Pokemon that we're going through. Isn't there one exception, Raji?
Go ahead, explain the exception.
In the very first tournament of things, it was pointed out that we missed. So the very first tournament of things was actually rating the first 151 Pokemon, and we unfortunately I forgot one. Not we, I forgot one. I forgot to include Scyther. So to make up for it, Scyther, despite not being a legendary Pokemon, is in this tournament.
He is a special Pokemon, after all.
He's special to us because he was omitted from the first one. Yeah. So anyway, so we're judging only based on we don't know what these Pokemon are. We're judging them based solely on their Pokemon cries.
And ties are broken using your legendary system.
All right. Anyways, let's get started. Here we go. Here, I'm just gonna reroute my audio. Tell me if you can hear this.
It sounds exactly like garbage. Sounds like an elephant.
Fair enough. Anyways, here we go. So this is round 1. This is the first match of the first round, and it is numbers 64 versus number 65. So here's 64. We just listened to it, but we'll listen to it again. That feels like a very nice earthly tone.
It's an elephant swimming in garbage.
Ah, yes. Yeah, so we got that elephant swimming in garbage. And number 65 is this. Oh my god, that's like a screechy metallic. I feel like I want to have the list open just so see if I can guess.
No. Come on. That's going to take way too long.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Let's just enjoy. We'll bask in the glory of these wonderful sound effects from the 90s.
All right.
I don't even know how to describe the second one.
It's like just a high-pitched metallic.
It's like a rat, like in a metallic box or something, trying to make its way out.
So 64 sounds like a big Pokemon. 64 sounds like a big, like, earth-based Pokemon. 65 kind of sounds like maybe a smaller flying or psychic
Electric.
or
Could
something
be electric.
or maybe electric. Maybe electric Pokemon. Yeah, or metal. I know metal's a type in.
I like electric. So my choice is going for the screechy one.
All right, 65. All right. My choice is also 65. I like that one more. All right. Number 2, between numbers 49 and 80. Here we go. 49. Okay. It kind of looks like that kind of sounds like a soft maybe roar. Kind of a soft roar.
Like a little baby.
That one sounded
like a baby cattle.
Yeah, maybe a baby cattle. That's right. Yeah, exactly. All right, and number 80. Oh, that's a big angry roar.
Like a big cattle.
Yeah, that's a big cattle. Ooh,
Got a nice
got
echo.
Like an echo
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the back end.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, me too. I like that one. 80's got it. All right. Number 3, between 48 and 81. Here's 48. Okay. That's, again,
it's like a bird.
Kind of a soft roar.
It's like a bird.
You think that one's a bird?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, flying Pokemon. Yep. All right. 81.
That's like a...
Grass?
No, it's like horse. Yeah, it's a horse maybe running on grass.
No, it kind of sounds like a grass Pokemon. It kind of has... Well, yeah, you're right, because those little...
Well, it's got the neigh sound.
Yeah. Okay, 48. 81.
I kind of like 81 because it's unique, because you can kind of hear the aesthetic of a horse.
Yeah, 81's got a lot more going on in it. So, yeah, I agree with you. 81 on that one. All right. And the last one, 57 against 72. Here's 57. How would I describe that?
It also kind of sounds like a bird to me.
Yeah, very chip. It's just like a chip. Yeah. And 72.
That's like an insect of some sort.
Oh yeah, that could be an insect. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Ooh,
like
this one's
either of them,
difficult.
honestly. They're too
Yeah, this
short.
one's difficult. They kind of sound very similar.
Yeah.
They might be in the same.
Same evolution chain.
Well, they wouldn't be in the same evolution chain, but are all these numbers, are they randomized to Pokemon, or did you literally go like one?
No, so I did the intelligent thing, which is all the numbers are just in order in the tournament, but they correspond to random Pokemon because I sorted those randomly. So you can't base it on alphabet or anything like that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like 57 is pretty separate from 72, so maybe they're not part of the same chain.
But it doesn't mean anything. No,
But it doesn't mean
they could
anything.
be
Okay.
the same.
Yeah, yeah, because they kind of sound like they might be, not necessarily, Articuno and Zapdos, but kind of an equivalent of that.
Okay, yeah, good point. Same series.
Yeah, the same series or the same, or two parts of a trio or a duo or something like that.
Almost like a Doduo or a Dodrio. I'm gonna go with I think the first one though because it's got that like the bounce back, whereas the second one is
It's
just
true.
kind of it's like it's very
Very flat.
it's flat. Yeah,
I'll agree with you. I'll, I'll take 57.
it's a miracle we didn't have any ties today.
No ties today. It'll come. It'll come. It'll come. So there you go. That's nice and quick. That's so quick.
Wow, man, it took us it took this long to describe one company for that previous
I know,
tournament.
it's true. It's true. It's true.
That's good stuff.
But they're not terrible sounds. Like they don't. The thing is with Pokemon is it never evolved past. It never evolved past its Game Boy roots, and it should have. And I know a lot of people wanted it to, and it just never did.
Well, at least the quality would be nice if they improved it, right? As we talked about it, the sounds can be short and sweet, whatever, but make it so that you make use of the new speakers in the new systems.
But overall, they're not. They're unique. They don't. I don't know if they necessarily sound like garbage. They just sound like.
Well, the first one did. Let's be honest. The first
The
one did
first one
sound
did,
like an
yeah.
elephant swimming in garbage.
That's true. To me, they sound like they belong more in Digimon than Pokemon because they sound very digital.
Yes.
They don't sound natural, which is what they're supposed to be in Pokemon, but not what they're supposed to be in Digimon. Pokemon are supposed to be natural creatures of the world and all that. Like, there's nothing. These all sound very computer generated. I would say is for the most part, and that's just there's nothing like that.
They'd
on the
have to be,
planet.
I guess, right? Right? I mean, you can't really. I mean, you could record some animals, but you still wouldn't be able to do that for the weird Pokemon like the ice cream cones.
Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, oh no, there's certainly certain ones like you can see the ice cream cones being kind of like a twinkle, like kind of sounds that generally accompany some sort of a frost effect or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be for like those ones, and certainly there are some that should be digital. But I mean, okay, if you have something like Meowth or Persian, those are cats. What are they supposed to sound like? They're not supposed to sound like digital monsters. They're supposed to sound like cats. So they just never evolved past the Game Boy days, unfortunately. And
I mean, it would certainly be less fun, I think, though, if they just said their name.
oh yeah,
Because a lot of, like, let's say in the cartoon, right, they always say their name. So it's just a dead giveaway what each one is.
well, it's true. It's true.
I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I'm saying garbage, but I'm just poking fun at it.
Yeah. They're certainly not.
I wouldn't have chosen this
refined, natural
this type of
sounds.
tournament if I didn't actually want to do it.
No, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting to hear all the roars because, when I play the game, I don't really pay attention to the sounds because I know they're nothing sounds. So this will be the chance to like listen to them.
Maybe you'll appreciate the game even more.
Honestly, in the back of my mind, I'd probably not that, but I'm curious if I'll recognize any of them. When we get to Mewtwo or Mew or Celebi or one of the birds, am I going to be like, oh, that's definitely that? Like I didn't recognize any today, but I'm wondering if I will. We shall see. We shall see.
But till next time,
Adios, Ranger. That was my Pokemon sound.
what would it be called?
Will my Pokemon be named
Yeah.
on? I don't know. Just Dustin. That's a Dustin Pokemon.
Okay. It's gonna be called and it's
Dustinachu. I call it Dustinachu.
Destinachu. That's not catchy. Game Freak wouldn't go for that.
No, I know they wouldn't, but I
Destina.
hope it-
Destina. There'd be two. There'd be a Destina, the female version, and Destino, the male version.
Oh, there you go. I like dual Pokemon.
That's it. There you go.
All right. This This is Dustino signing off.